Hilton brings you new ways to stay. With experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
The First Lady of New York Radio, Joan Hamburg. Entertaining and informative. Talk Radio 77 WABC.
It's wonderful, it's marvelous. You should care for me. It's awful nice. It's paradise. It's what I love to see. You made me feel so glamorous. You can't blame me for feeling.
We have a great guest today, one of my favorites, Christine Ebersole, two-time Tony-winning actress, singer. You've seen her on the CBS sitcom Bob Hart's Ebersole, a brand new album which is going to make you so happy. And you're going to, again, reconnect with Christine's amazing life. The album is called After the Ball, and you can get it through Club 44 Records. Well, I've been talking to Christine since she came to New York, moved to New Jersey with her kids, and it was all after her agent, when she called to check in one day to see was there anything going on, any work, and he said, sort of a little snide, well, you are, and he mentioned an age, meaning she's too old to work. And you just want to hear that from your agent. It's a good way to start the day. So tell what happened after that. I mean, you know, the agent is God, and God said you're too old.
Oh, my gosh. Well, first of all, I just want to say I'm so happy to talk to you. Oh, my gosh. It's been such a long time. And, you know, like you said, I feel like, you know, my career is just parallel with knowing you and talking with you and checking in with you. So, but here I am. After I was over the hill, you know, I was too old to work 30 years ago. And it's been going on ever since. But yeah, no, the album, I'm very thrilled about the album with Club 44 Records, and it just, it's a very personal album. It's about empty nesting when the children grow up and leave, and you're nearing your dotage.
That's, you know, and trying to hang on the best you can. I still remember when you came here, and I said, what made you move? I forget, was it Maplewood?
Maplewood, New Jersey.
Maplewood,
and
it was...
We're still there.
You didn't even have a clue. You know, you just moved to New York, moved to Maplewood, and I remember that, I think it was your daughter. Was she the swimmer? I mean, you had all these things going on, 3 kids, and then...
The gymnast, yes, she was a gymnast.
And now I take it that they're all out of the house. I remember your mother was living with you. You had a packed house.
Yes, that's right. Oh, my gosh. Such a good memory. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. And you got a Broadway role. You barely unpacked.
I know. It was, I guess we moved from Hollywood to Maplewood. That's why I say what a difference a leaf makes.
Right.
That was in 1999.
Wow.
And we're still in the house. We're still at the same house.
Yeah, only this time
the
kids are gone. And here you are, 2 Tonys later, 20 Broadway and off-Broadway shows?
Yeah, and now I'm in Los Angeles. Right now I'm speaking to you from Los Angeles because I'm doing Bob Hart's Ebersole. So we have an apartment here in L.A., so we're kind of bi-coastal for now. You know, the house is in New Jersey, and we have a beautiful apartment here, and I'm working at Warner Brothers.
And are you having fun? Is it enjoyable?
I'm having a blast. It's such a fantastic cast, and it's just, I'm so grateful at my age to be able, to just still be on the playing field.
Well, you never were off the playing field. I don't think I ever knew a performer who did more Broadway shows than you did. And yet I remember you once telling me that of all the shows, when you played Edie and Little Edie in Grey Gardens, that was really a powerful experience for you.
It really was, Joan. It really was. And it was kind of life-changing, really. That was 15 years ago.
Yeah, and that was a big thing. But why was that one in particular? And I think I've seen everything you've been in, and I love that. But why was that in your life, the one that had the biggest effect?
I think partly, it was playing both of those roles, Little Edie and the mother, Big
Right.
Edie in Act 2. But I don't know. I think it was like an identification in a sense of this person who is born into this certain segment of society that, where her aspirations were frowned upon. And it was just sort of like how a caged bird becomes free, in a funny, odd way, because it was really when they were in high society, they were in a gilded cage. But then when everything fell apart, they were free to be who they were in the rubble,
Right.
It was an odd kind of mix. But it just, it was very special. It's very hard to describe, really, about it. But of course, the music and the lyrics of Scott Frankel and Michael Corey and Michael Greif and William Ivy Long, and I mean just the Mary Louise Wilson, just like the amazing cast and the direction and the music and all of that. I don't know. It's hard to describe, but it was very life-changing.
No, and you work all the time. Licorice Pizza. That was...
Yeah.
Lucille.
And that was during the height of the pandemic.
Yeah, well, when everyone thought they weren't going to work. And the truth is, most people didn't work.
I know. It's unbelievable. No, it's unbelievable. I don't know how. I don't understand it. I really don't. I'm just so grateful. And, I'm just so appreciative.
But you're good. I mean, if you weren't good, it wouldn't have happened. And it's good. Did you ever...
I don't know. There's something else, I think, that really goes into it. And that's just, I guess, perseverance, really. Through the storm and all that.
Never give up.
You still keep going,
Never give up. And it's also something your mother, if you're lucky enough to have a mother that thinks you are perfect, that you can do anything, be anything, that is very helpful in getting through.
Well, that was my father too. My father was really the champion. He was when I was doing On the 20th Century, and I was understudying Judy Kay, and I called him on the phone and I said, Dad, I'm going on tonight. Got on a plane from Chicago, flew to New York, and sat in the front row that night.
And that was such a big break.
I had very supportive parents, very supportive. Yeah,
absolutely.
So I was very blessed in that sense,
Now, of the three kids, any of them interested in going in the business?
Yes, my son Elijah actually is doing a play in Brooklyn right now called, oh my gosh, Something to Kill. It's I'm forgetting the title. It's one of those kind of interactive plays.
Yeah.
That where you you go from room to room. The audience goes from room to room, and they solve the murder mystery. That kind of thing.
That's big.
Yeah, super fun. I got to see it when I was on hiatus, and I went back. He's wonderful. We sang together on stage when he was like 20 years old. He's very talented.
That's
and
fantastic.
Just has that, that je ne sais quoi,
Right. So are the three of them out of the house already?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, that's
and
got to
Maymay's
be.
here in L.A. Maymay's here in L.A. Aaron is working at the media department at Rutgers University. He's the baby, and because he got a degree in graphic design at the University of the Arts in Philadelphia.
Good for him.
And Maymay's working in Los Angeles, and so she's nearby. I'm so grateful in that sense, that my beautiful daughter is here, so we get to hang out,
Right, I know, and it's hard when they.
So I'm not completely alone.
leave.
And Bill is holding down the fort in New Jersey, and we have these. We don't have any grandchildren yet. I'm still hoping, but
they're young, of course.
Yes, of course, but time moves on, and you know how it goes. But
does he have
two, our grandchildren now are two miniature dachshunds. So
they're so cute. They're not the wired hair.
The animals, Joan. Don't forget. Remember this. All the millions of pets we have. We don't stop.
Gosh.
Oh my gosh.
And you had a bird. Do you still
we
have?
Do. We still have the bird.
That
Big
bird.
Sally. Yes,
Oh my gosh.
We do FaceTime together.
Oh, you are too much. So between the doxies, the bird.
Stop going.
Oh, it's very funny. And
so we have 4 cats and 3 dogs and a cockatiel.
So Bill is taking care of all these other children.
And of course the house. That's always something to. You know what I mean? There's always something when those old houses, especially.
I know. I live in an old house, and there isn't a week, a day when something doesn't say, you better call the plumber or the contractor or something. How many things can go wrong? But they do.
Everything.
No, everything.
Yeah,
but tell me.
I'm coming back. I'm going back in November because I'm being inducted into the Theater Hall of Fame, which I'm really thrilled about.
That's
on
big
November
time.
14th. Yeah. And then New Year's Eve, I'm going to be up in Provincetown with Billy Stritch.
Oh, well, you work a lot with Billy. That's fantastic.
It's been a while. I mean, we were down in New Orleans last weekend. It was the first time that I was singing and did an evening of performing, since the lockdown. So it had been like almost 3 years. It is, and all those doubts and fears kind of creep in. I think it did a psychological number on most people.
It did. And
yeah, absolutely did. Like psychological warfare. But again, it's just how you prevail. It's like you just got to keep going.
Yeah, but you're good at that too, and
well.
But
it's I try to remember that because a lot of times your fears can really take a hold of you, and you think it's over and you think it's, too late and it's already passed you by and, it's not going to be possible now. And
look at how
you're getting older and all that kind of stuff. And, it's really, what I think it is, Joan? I think it's just a matter of how you can feel useful.
Well,
if you can still be useful, and that's in any form. It's not just performing. It's like, helping out a neighbor or, being able to bake some banana bread or, cook a meal or, just something like that just you feel that you're do some gardening, pull the weeds,
right.
Something that's where you can be useful,
Well, and you
have a task.
Well, and you know how to do it. But I'm curious, after the ball, which Club 44 Records has come out with, what brought that out? Did they go look for you, or did you say, this is something on my list, I want to do it?
You mean to make an album?
To make a new album.
Yeah, I think it was just really the inspiration was what came out of the children leaving the nest and going off to college. This was 6 years ago. I was asked to do a concert to do a stint at the Carlisle Hotel. This was in 2016. And we were in Chicago doing War Paint. Larry Yerman, who was the musical director of War Paint and Grey Gardens, he's one of the producers, me and him produced the album. But we decided to, after we were asked to go into the Carlisle, which I did the evening with Larry Yerman, and that was the impetus behind it, that was the inspiration behind it, was the children leaving and how, and what that made me feel. And then again, it's sort of like your identity is sort of wrapped up in that. And it's like after they're growing up, it's like, well, what do I do now? Kind of thing.
Right.
It's like, who am I? Where do I go? What do I do? It's like, are you useful? Are you able to? How does it change your relationship? With your children and the world around you, and how can you still grow with that? It doesn't end, but it changes. And so that was the inspiration behind that. And so when we did the concert at the Carlisle, and we were there for 2 weeks, we thought, let's go into the studio and make this. And it was fraught at the time because one of the players, his wife was very ill, and he couldn't, Larry Saltzman, he couldn't participate in the gig. And so we hired this amazing guitar player, John Benthal, and Mary Dorman Fanoff was the cello player. So we were all gathered together, but it was fraught. It was just fraught. And so we kind of stored it away for 5 years.
Wow.
And then we came, when the lockdown came, that's when we said, let's go back in and see what we can salvage. We probably have to do the whole thing over again. And instead, we found, buried treasure. It was all there. So that's how that happened.
And was Club 54 with you all along?
No, Club 44 Records, no. That actually, they came about when it was ready to be released. Mm-hmm. And, we found each other, and it's been a really, really, really wonderful experience.
And Christine, I'm talking to Christine Ebersole. Was it cathartic when you finished that and the kids were gone? And did you feel you were on solid ground again? Yes.
There's something about, like I say, it's a very personal record in that sense, but it really asks the question, how do you move forward with all of this? You have this loss of the youth and when they were babies and all of that, just this wonderful chaos that was going on. And, then the house is quiet and it's empty, and it's, how do you, as they're moving on, making their own lives, how do you stay useful? And you have to reexamine how you can be influential and be useful as a mother to a grown child.
Right, and it's
a wife and a parent and a friend and, living in this world, with all of this experience remembered, that hopefully there's some wisdom in life experience that you can share with those that you love,
But even with your fantastic talent and the Tonys and the Broadway shows and everything that you do, the television, it's always been interesting to me that your role as a mother has been so strong, and that need to parent and be so present. It's not that usual for people who have because so many people who don't know you, really personally know you as a talent, they know about Broadway, they know about your gorgeous voice, but it's your mother role that is so strong in your life, as along with the entertaining and the singing and the Broadway.
Well, I think that's because, I think what, having the career that I had or have, but it's mostly had, in terms of when the kids were growing up, there was a lot that I missed out on, and I think that that was a struggle for me because I didn't like that, and it's really kind of erroneous to say you can have it all. I don't think that's really true. If you have a life on the stage and a life in a career that way, that oftentimes the children are sacrificed in that sense. Mm-hmm. In other words, that of course, you have to have a roof over their head and food on the table and, things like that, clothes on their back.
Right.
You have to be responsible for that. And at the same time, the nurturing that goes with, the traditional roles of motherhood are not, you can't do it all because you're on stage,
No.
at bedtime, singing the 11 o'clock number and wondering if they brush their teeth. So, it's very conflicted in that sense. But
they got it.
But in the end, the motherhood is the legacy.
Exactly.
That's what you pass on. I don't, it's like you can pass on your Tonys. It doesn't mean anything.
Well, it does mean something, but it's not like.
No, but it doesn't in the end. It doesn't
right.
in the end because it's your relationships. It's your relationships.
No,
with your
I
children.
believe that. I think it's really important. And, when my daughter was little, she used to say to me all the time, "You're not here when I need you. You're not a milk and cookies mommy."
Yeah.
And I never forgot the milk and cookies mommy. But the truth is, I thought I was there. I was there as much as I could. I would sit down to dinner with them all the time. But, kids have their perception.
Get that,
Well, that's right. But they had something else. And they had a father, too, who was very much a presence in their lives. Yeah. Not to mention a talking bird. Not every kid has that. I mean, visiting your house was quite an adventure for most people.
It was zookeeping.
That's right. I mean, they had a lot of other experiences that most kids couldn't dream of.
That's true. But you see, that's funny. The thing is that's the beauty of motherhood. It's ongoing.
Right.
It's ongoing. You never stop being a mother.
Right.
And even though it
changes... Do your kids today tell you how they feel?
Well, certain ones.
Right.
Certain ones can do that, yeah.
Well,
everyone has a different personality, but it's like, but the love is, the love is for all, and the love that I feel from all is equal in that sense,
Well,
it's genuine.
I love talking to you, and I want to remind everyone out there, it's a gorgeous recording after the ball. It's a new album from Christine Ebersole. Club 44 Records is where you're going to get it, wherever music and records are sold, and it's going to make you feel so good. Because we all go through different chapters in our life, and many of them center around family and love and children and needs, and it's all there in this album, so this becomes part of you, too. All the best to you, Christine. I look forward to seeing you.
I can't wait to see you, Joan. I miss you.
Take care of yourself, and I know, even though you think you're too old, you're going to be back on Broadway. I know it, and I'm like a witch.
Oh, my.
So,
okay. Your mouth to God's ears.
yeah, I know. He's listening. All right. Take care of yourself. You too.
All right.
Bye-bye.
You too, dear. All right.
I'm Joan Hamburg, and I've been talking to the one and only Christine Ebersole. Go listen. It's really special. After the Ball. Stay tuned. There's lots more ahead on WABC.